Just going to keep it to yourself?
Just going to keep it to myself.
Okay. It is the Frank and Friends show. Hi, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
And how are you, Kathryn?
I'm doing well and tired. And
well, I imagine,
so
yeah. You're. I mean, this is one of those things where you're in production time. It's busy time and so much going on. And what was it you just said? You're going to not say words. You're going to keep it to yourself.
I'm just going to keep it to myself. We're talking about pre-Valentine's.
Well, I was saying this is our pre-Valentine's show because I don't think we'll have another one before Valentine's Day. Unless I come out with a very special episode, but I think
for you.
Yeah, I think that. So I took the old Christmas poinsettia, and I'm pretending now that it's a Valentine flower.
Well, that's nice.
And I wore a shirt that has red in it,
that's
red
really
and
nice.
blue in it.
You see, we didn't plan or coordinate.
Well, I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Always a surprise.
I think that's what you were. I started talking about how I overthink everything, and you like, well, I'm not going to say a word. Well, we do appreciate your listening to us on podcast apps, or most especially watching us on YouTube. We really are putting the push for 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So if you can maybe sign up your friends, you borrow their phones, you know.
Absolutely, everyone you know.
Yeah, grab their YouTube app and hit the subscribe button on there. I think a lot of my friends don't log in to YouTube. They just watch it through Facebook or some other way.
Right.
So you can't subscribe that way. You have to actually be logged into your Gmail account.
That's right.
To subscribe to us on YouTube. So, also, of course, we have our own fabulous merchandise. And speaking of the pre-Valentines, look at this red, beautiful red hoodie that I wear a lot.
And you can get it at the Frank and Friends Show website, which is frankandfriendshow.com/store.
That's right.
Where you can also find these great mugs.
Yes.
And other fun Valentine's gifts. Frank and Friends Show.
Oh, look at you.
Cases.
How's that working out for you?
I love it. It's great.
Did you see that I wore the hoodie on National Go Red for Women Day?
I did.
Good, because you're a woman. I wanted someone to see it.
Yeah, I saw it. I felt very supported.
I thought of you, yes. Well, I also thought of my mom and my grandmother, who both had congestive heart failure, congestive heart disease.
Yeah.
Which, doesn't kill you quickly, it kills you slowly, but
sure.
Ultimately that was, their causes of death. So it runs in my family.
Yeah.
Heart attacks and strokes. So I love supporting it. And in the picture, I guess I should put up the picture, you'll see that I very cleverly was in a place that's already decorated for Valentine's Day.
That was smart.
And got the tinsel hearts. And if you look closely, you'll see the word heart on the wall behind me. I mean, come on.
It was really well staged.
It was totally, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
I forgot to wear red, but I was wearing maroon that day. I saw the post and I was like, I should be wearing red.
Oh, it's kind of like a bruise.
Yeah.
It's close. Part
it's
red.
Close. Yeah. I was wearing part red. And part support.
If you want next year, there's always something, there's always a day. When I worked in broadcasting, I used to get contacted all the time about, Wear Purple Day is coming up. And there's multiple charities that use Wear Purple, like, for example, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Alzheimer's Awareness, or I think of the two big purple ones.
Okay.
And then red, of course, is usually the Heart Association.
Right.
I think they pretty much own that one.
They own the color red, yeah.
There's, I'm sure there's other colors, so we can get involved in that. That's before we get to the meat of the show, and we do have a lot to talk about today. I've got to tell you how I guested on another podcast. I've got to tell you how I might be getting the old gang back together for a charity event.
All right, good.
And also, speaking of charity events, the Akima Cabaret I'm delighted that they've chosen us as one of their media sponsors for this year.
That's so exciting, because it's coming up, right?
Yeah, that'll be on Friday the 18th and Saturday the 19th. The Friday evening show is at 7 p.m. The Saturday matinee is at 2. Technically, there's a Saturday night show, but they've already sold that one out.
So you got to get your tickets soon.
Yeah, so my wife Jerry and I are going to go to the Friday the 18th show.
Great.
It's at the Mill and Mine, which is a nice venue.
It is a nice venue.
Have you ever done anything there yet?
We haven't done anything there yet, but it's a good...
We wanted to keep in mind, I think it's run by the same cadre that runs Tennessee Theater and
yes.
Bijou. It's AC Entertainment House.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But they've got a decent stage. Not. It's more of a band, like a rock band type stage.
Yeah, it's kind of a big theater space, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big open space, and the stage isn't too terribly deep. But anyway, you can certainly do a great Akima Cabaret on there. They're going to have a fantastic show. They probably put the orchestra or musicians down below.
Oh, that'd be great. Oh, so they'll have musicians there as well and singers?
I think so.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to go to one of the rehearsals and get a little B-roll, a little behind-the-scenes footage, so I'll be able to tell you. But I know they hire like professional choreographers and music directors so that all the ladies who volunteer can get up there and look their best.
That's awesome.
Similar to the way we did the Front Page Follies, and I'll get back to that in a moment. But best of all, dozens and dozens of area charities get to benefit from the Akima Cabaret. I mean, I went through the list and I thought, well, if I had the money, I'd give to all of these. So I'll just buy a ticket for the Akima Cabaret.
And let them do it while I'm entertained.
Yeah. And each of those charities will get like 40 cents or whatever from my ticket.
Yours,
but enough people.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. That's akimaclub.org is where you buy your tickets for the Akima Cabaret. Tell them that Frank and Friends show sent you, and Cheers. I'll take a sip.
Yeah.
And I hope they have, actually the dinner is after. You go to the show first at 7, and then if you buy the dinner ticket, you stay.
And have dinner. Which,
to me, is genius, because when all the years we did Front Page Follies, we would have the dinner first. And no one in the cast very few people in the cast would participate in the dinner because you don't want to get your clothes messed up. You don't want to get things in your teeth. Your stomach might be too antsy.
Right.
So we're backstage eating junk food or cold cuts in the green room, while the whole party and the mingling and the important schmoozing is happening out front. And then we come out and do our show, and we're on this high after the show, and everyone leaves.
Yeah, no, this is a much better way.
This is genius.
Yeah.
That's why I guess they've been doing it for 75 years. They probably know what they're talking about. But so I got to keep that in mind. We got to keep that in mind.
We do. And could you actually
show first
during the cabaret portion? Do people get up and dance, or is it mostly you're sitting there and listening?
The dancing, I believe, happens after the performance.
Okay.
There's dinner and dancing after the show. So
Nice.
it's show first, and then the ladies who are in the show come out and get to sit with their family and friends.
Nice.
And dinner and dancing ensues.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Akimen, they call it. It's like Akima, but
With men at the end?
Yeah, or Akiman or whatever.
Okay.
It's a joke.
Akiman,
There's some dudes, husbands and such, who are in the show to help out. So you should take a sealed envelope, Kathryn.
Okay.
And write your prediction.
Okay.
Do you think that because by Jerry and me going and being in the audience of this program, that 2 years from now, we'll open this envelope 2 years from now, did Frank and Jerry somehow get roped into joining the Akima Cabaret? Yes or no?
I already know the answer to that.
I know the answer. Depends on how much the dues cost.
The answer is yes.
depending on how much the dues cost. So I mentioned in that course of that plug for the Akima Cabaret a couple of times the Front Page Follies, because there's some crossover, there's some similarity between, the Akima Cabaret every 2 years does a show where they spoof something. This year it's the Roaring Twenties When Decades Collide.
Right.
Front Page Follies was every year for 40 years, and it was spoofs of the news, and David Lawver would write these brilliant song parodies to the tune of, songs you'd know, classic rock and oldies and pop songs, even old standards. Like I sang, Thanks for the Memory by Bob Hope one time, and Jerry sang The Way We Were, the old
nice.
It's about the World's Fair,
I like that song.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
So we've had, and The Beauty and the Beast, I wrote one to the tune of Beauty and the Beast for
Nice.
Jerry to sing, and I wrote one for myself to the tune.
Wasn't there one that Maurice Hendricks did?
That was brilliant. Now, you know Maurice from the opera world.
He's singing in our show for Marble City Opera right now.
Well, it was actually thanks to Brandon Gibson that this whole thing transpired, is on the final episode, the final edition of the Front Page Follies, if you will, going out of business sale. We knew it was probably going to be the last one, but it was also the 40th ever one.
Wow.
So we thought, this is probably not going to make it to 50. Let's go out with a bang on 40.
Sure.
And someone, I think me, had this idea to reprise some of the songs that I've been hearing about. I was only in the Follies for 5 years, which is still fairly significant out of 4, but only 35 years before that. People always say, "Oh, remember the time
before Frank?"
Yeah, when it was good. Remember the good old days?
Is there like an AD or before Frank?
The AF and the BF.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the MF, which would be the mid-Frank period.
So we're talking about the mid-Frank period.
During the mid-Frank period, the MF, they would talk about the BF. And they would talk about these songs. That's where The Way We Were came up. Is they said that was a great one about the World's Fair. So Jerry got to sing the solo on that, even though she didn't sing it years, in 1980, whatever, when they did it the first time. And that's how long that was song. The Follies started, I think, the same year, around about the same time as the World's Fair. It was maybe even before. It was a long time, like 79, I think it started. So there was one that my friend Ann McKinney wrote. And Ann McKinney is a lawyer, a great estate lawyer, and she wanted so badly to be in the Front Page Follies. They told her at that time, no, you have to be a journalist to be in the Front Page Follies.
Oh, how interesting.
There was a rule, and it was all these bad singers, all these
you
newspaper
wanted people who can't sing.
reporters getting up there. But Ann can sing, and Ann can write songs.
Okay.
She's got a mind for it. And so she wanted so badly to be in the Front Page Follies that she got herself a job as a columnist at a newspaper.
So she could join the Front Page Follies.
Writing about her expertise in the area of estate law, wills and,
That's
and
amazing.
deeds and trusts, whatever she does. And now she's like, well, I have a column in the newspaper. Now you have to take me into the Front Page Follies. So Ann McKinney. In fact, Ann McKinney is going to be in the reprise of the Follies that we're going to do coming up.
Nice.
So now Ann's in the Follies. And one of the times that she's there, she wrote a song about a fairly ugly incident in the history of Knoxville. It was a Cherokee Country Club was segregated for many, 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 many years. And
until just recently, really.
In the early 2000s, yeah. There came a time in the, I'll have to source me on the year, but UT hired an African-American basketball coach. And it was tradition that the head football coach and the head basketball coach got complimentary memberships to Cherokee Country Club as part of their compensation package.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes you get a car, sometimes you get housing allowance, whatever it is. But this golf club membership was part of it. And the Cherokee balked at it because they were segregated. How are they going to let the head coach of the Vols, or even if it was assistant coach, whoever it was, how can they let the coach of the Vols into Cherokee Country Club? What are they going to do about it?
Right.
So they
change your terrible rules.
That would be the logical answer. But instead, what the university ended up withdrawing Cherokee membership as a perk. It became no one got it. The football coach lost.
That was a good decision by the university.
They took it away and said, we're just not going to have that in our compensation package anymore. And then another several years went by to the early 2000s, like 2003-ish, and there was a woman who became president of Knoxville College, and she was admitted as the first African-American member of Cherokee Country Club, as I recall. And that then, obviously opened the door, and now things are different. Well, when that happened, when Barbara, somebody, became a member of Cherokee, Ann McKinney writes this song to the tune of something Moses.
Oh, Go Down Moses?
Yes.
Yeah.
So she writes it to the tune.
Oh, yeah, Let My People In, or
Let My People Go. Is the original song is, I think, Let My People Go, right?
Yes.
So she changes it to Let My People Golf.
Nice.
And that's everyone ever talked about. Oh, the Follies that one year, they used to be great when they sang Let My People Golf. I'm like, okay. Like, how can I be that good as the previous Follies, the BF Follies, if you will, the before Frank Follies? So I said, well, let's reprise Let My People Golf. Why not?
Yeah.
And I called, I didn't know who had sang it the first year. I couldn't track all those people down. But who's the first person I thought of is the guy who works with you, Brandon Gibson. I said, Brandon, I need you to come and sing this song. And he's like, man, everyone asks me to sing everything.
He's like, I don't have time for that, Frank. Let me give you somebody else.
Would you, I asked him, I said, as a favor to me, would you help me? Here's the thing. I need someone who's going to understand that we're singing about something ugly in a way that we're making fun of it and shining light on it because,
Right.
But
using humor to do it.
And I said, it's dicey. And he said, well, let me see if Maurice Hendricks would do it. So I invited Maurice, and I kind of cajoled him a little bit and said, I think this is a good thing. It's weird when you're reading about it. You're reading about this. We're singing about an ugly thing to the tune of a spiritual.
Right.
But if you just go with me on this, let's see. And I said, you can back out at any time. I'll understand. But I don't think you will. I think you're going to be okay with it.
Yeah.
And so we tore the house down. We did it at the Bijou, and we have everyone in the whole cast is singing the background vocal, and Maurice is doing these hilarious lyrics about they think I must know Tiger Woods,
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a video of it, and he sounded fabulous. He really brought the house down.
Because he can fill the Bijou, and he can fill the Tennessee Theater with his voice. He has. So he was the perfect guy for it. And the best part, though, is he also got into the acting of it. We gave him a bag of golf clubs. And he's doing these shrugging and comedy faces while he's singing in this beautiful voice. And I mean, we got a standing ovation. And what was very gratifying to me is on the anniversary of it 1 year, like 2 years, 3 years later, he posted a memory on Facebook and said, I didn't know, I was very leery going into this, but in hindsight, I'm really glad I did it.
That's nice. That's nice. Oh, I'm going to have to ask him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, so Ann McKinney wrote that Go Down Moses parody.
That's great. And now what is she going to be in? You're doing another get-together with the Follies.
Yeah. Matt Hinkin was the meteorologist on Channel 6 for 30 years. He comes down with Parkinson's disease and then retires from Channel 6. But the PJ Parkinson support group, who he supports and with his, money and appearances and just good name, he's almost a spokesman for them, decided to throw a tribute party and raise some money for the charity. So that's going to be on Thursday, February 24th, which I know is the same night as opening night of your opera.
And I just have to say that I told some people that you have been helping me get, free some of my time up, and that you're very supportive of making sure that I don't overwork myself.
Oh, good.
And so, you've been nicknamed by some of my family members.
Oh, really?
As Uncle Frank. Oh, he's like, your Uncle Frank is just taking care of you.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, and then this morning, as I was driving over here, James said, well, tell Uncle Frank I say hi. And I was like, wait a minute. Did you know that we nicknamed him Uncle Frank? And he had no idea.
Oh my gosh.
So it's your new name.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, because when they announced this event, when they decided to do this event for honor Matt Hinkin, they contacted me, and I originally said, I can't go. I'll be at Marble City Opera that night.
Yeah.
And so please leave me out of it. But they wouldn't take no for an answer.
They wouldn't. They called me.
Asking me. They said, well, what do you have ideas? What can you do at the event? I said, why don't you get all the local weathermen and women from all the other TV stations to come on stage and do a greeting or sing a song about Matt Hinkin.
That would be fun.
Or do something.
Yeah.
Oh, can you line all that up for us? No. No. But you know who could is the people at Channel 6 could do it. Why don't we let them take that part of it and see if they can put together a video tribute. But we really love your idea about singing a song for Matt Hinkin. So I said, all right, look, I'll contact David Lawver, who wrote all the great songs for the Front Page Follies, and see if he can write a little song. Maybe take one that he's already done in the past.
Right.
Because Matt used to be in the Follies, and we have one weather song every year. So Matt Hinkin and Todd Howell and David Aldrich, or whoever was a meteorologist from each of the three stations, would get up, and they would sing the song about the snow or the rain or the fog or whatever, something.
That's nice. That's a nice connection.
So it made sense.
Yeah.
And David doesn't just write one song. He ends up writing like 6. And they're all good. I'm like, oh, now what? So they're like, well, we need someone to sing these songs. I said, I got nobody. Why don't you contact one of these country singers that you're using for another event? There's this kid who's going to be the opening act. He's going to sing some country songs and some show tunes during the half hour.
While everyone's mingling and
So I say, tell him, I say, hey, change your plans. You're going to sing these parody songs that we've written. No! No, that's not my area, dude. No, I've got my songs and I sing to a track.
That's what I do, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So unbeknownst to me, the Parkinson's charity contacts Margaret McBride, I think?
Yes. And Margaret McBride said, oh, why don't you contact Kathryn Frady? So I get a text message and asking to call.
Early in the morning?
Early in the morning, yeah. And you should never ask me anything early in the morning unless you actually
note to myself.
Unless you really want me to do something.
Well, make sure we start recording earlier in the morning. Note to self.
Because I'm not awake enough to think, and I'll just probably agree.
So now here we have this issue where I get contacted by the PJ Parkinson's people saying, well, don't worry about you having to sing or get singers. We've got Kathryn Frady of Marble City Opera is going to do it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. My excuse for not being available is that I've got to go to Marble City Opera. How can she be available? And she runs the thing.
Well, they told me it was only going to take like half an hour and then I'd be done by a certain time. And I would still have like, an hour and a half to get to my performance.
What time is your performance?
7:30.
Yeah, that's not gonna be it.
Yeah.
No, because the Parkinson's charity event starts at 5:30. This country singer I told you about is going to play till 6. We're going to do the Matt Hinkin video tribute till like 6:15. We're not going to hit the stage to do the parody songs that David Lawver wrote until like 6:30.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to. That's all of that time, all afternoon. You need to be over at the world premiere of your opera.
Yeah, minor details.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So my hackles are getting raised because you've agreed to this, and I'm thinking, well, in my role as a board member of Marble City Opera, I need to say, no, Frady.
Steps in Uncle Frank to the rescue.
You can't. It's more important to the opera company that you're over there troubleshooting or just making. Ideally, you're there all afternoon and everything's smooth and nothing goes wrong.
Right.
But you need to be there. Yeah. Regardless of whether things go right or wrong, because what if the media shows up to say, Kathryn, somebody talk to us about this world premiere of an opera?
That's true.
You got to be there for that.
That's true, I do, yeah.
All right. So anyway.
Good thinking.
So Uncle Frank gets her off the hook, but now what?
Now what? You're on the hook.
I put myself on the hook. And then my wife says to me, oh, I got the rehearsal schedule for the other opera company, Mephistopheles with Knoxville Opera, and she's in the chorus. And she says, oh, we have a sitz probe, which is important.
Yes.
What's a sitz probe?
It's when the orchestra and the singers all get together for the first time without staging to, rehearse the music.
Yeah, so that's an important one. And she says it's Thursday the 24th. I'm like, but that's the night we're going to Kathryn's opera with I Can't Breathe and, Brandon Gibson and Maurice Hendricks and we're going to the opera that night. and my wife says no. So we have season tickets, so we can pick whichever night we want to go, right? It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I think you still need to send an email about what day you're going to actually attend. I just noticed that last night.
I noticed that last night, too. I
was like, I think he's going to come on Saturday.
Well, whatever, you tell me. I can't decide whether to come Friday or Saturday. But the point is, I'm all of a sudden, it's like all of these celestial forces, thank you, God, are conspiring to make me, and just me, available on this Thursday the 24th.
Yep.
And you unavailable.
Yep.
So I sent an email to the cast, the old Follies cast, thinking, oh, who's going to want to do this? If I can get 3 people, that'd be great.
Right.
It was just, originally my plan was, well, I think I'm currently at 16 or 17.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody wants to be in it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They're all excited about getting the old gang back together
to
sing songs about Matt Hinkin.
That's great.
So that pjparkinsons.org has the thing, and that's just the weirdest way it all came about. But it obviously
really is. It was meant to be.
It was obviously meant to be.
Yeah.
And then my wife finds out that her rehearsal for Mephistopheles doesn't start till like 8.
Oh, so she can come with you.
So she's going to come. She's going to sing.
Oh, fantastic. She's like, well, I can sing it to events. I mean, Kathryn might not be able to that night, but I can.
Yeah. Well, because she doesn't have to be, you have to be there 6.
I know.
Your thing at 6. She doesn't have to be everything till 8.
Yeah.
And then Terry Silver Alford is going to play keyboard for us.
Nice.
It really, really, truly was meant to be.
Can people get tickets to that?
Yeah, pjparkinsons.org. Look for the Matt Hinkin tribute party. Buy a table, buy a ticket, buy whatever you can do, and support that cause. I think it's terrific.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it
I
seems
just
like
hope Isabel, who runs it, promised me some of her Christmas cookies, and I never got them. I got to.
Oh, well. Do you think she still has leftover Christmas cookies?
No,
or you want to make some new ones?
No, I'll make some new ones.
Yeah.
As spring arrives, Kathryn, I think about the great outdoors, and I think about Steve's tree service.
Yes. It's time to call Steve and get all of your trees that you don't want anymore removed.
Yeah, because I noticed that the utility company will come through and do a really ugly hatchet job of pruning back the trees near the wires. And it's a much better idea to come have Steve and his professionals do your trees in a way that would be more healthy for the tree. You don't want the tree to be all out of balance and lopsided, because then it's just going to, if they cut off this half of it because it's too close to the wires, eventually the tree's going to fall the other way and land on your house.
Well, and they'll make it look prettier, so it'll be healthy and pretty for the tree.
And, the trees grow so fast around here that it totally makes sense. Even, I had some, I'll call them small trees, which were technically weeds that I'd failed to remove.
Good.
But they turn into trees.
Wow.
They turn into redbud trees so fast, or they turn into these other annoying pestilence trees like the Bradford pear.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they'll just sprout right up. So Steve had to come in and just bulldoze the whole area there, saw down a bunch of trees. They use the tree climbers to get up there and
just like the lumberjacks.
take the tree down in segments. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So do call Steve and Renee. They'll serve you anywhere in East Tennessee, Knox, Sevier, Blount, Loudoun, Anderson, Jefferson counties. They always get great reviews in the online services, Yelp and Google and Facebook and whatnot. So Steve's Tree Service, the phone number is 865-257-6214, 865-257-6214. Get those dead trees out, and really right before they leaf out, it's a little easier to figure out which ones we want to get rid of.
Oh, that makes sense.
A little easier for them, but they'll do it. I mean, mine were in full, bloom.
They'll do it any time of the year.
Just take out whatever they got to take out.
Yeah.
So I'm Uncle Frank.
You're Uncle Frank, yeah.
That's just bizarro.
I know, it's pretty good though.
But it makes sense. I mean,
It does, yeah. I have to tell you a story. I met someone the other night who knows you.
Really?
Surprise.
Well, I mean,
Surprise! Someone knows Frank Murphy.
I went to lunch with a lady from Channel 6 at Aubrey's, and we're just sitting there, and people are walking by, and she's like, what is going on? Because I'm like, hey, Arnold, how are you? And then, hey, Channel 8 people, I don't know why they're also there, but hey. And she's like, what is happening this? What is happening? This never happens to me. I'm like, oh, it happens to me all the time. So you met someone that knows me.
I know, it's shocking.
Well, I talk too much. I meet people.
Well, you do. But I met this person because they came to take photographs of a rehearsal for Marble City Opera. And we got to talking about the project, and he was there early.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, actually, would it be cool to shoot a little video, and maybe I could interview you on the video?
Oh, excellent.
And I was like, okay, great. And so we went into the theater of the Flying Anvil and found some light.
That's where you're rehearsing. The show is going to be over at the Beck Center.
Yes.
But you're currently
rehearsing
at your office at Flying Anvil Theater.
Yes.
Okay.
And so we went to find some good light.
Was this what kind of photographer was he? Like a media? Okay.
Media photographer. Because we have some interviews happening with the Shopper News and Sentinel, and so he works for them. And so he comes in, and I stand in the light, and he's holding up his phone where he's going to do the video, and he starts to tell me, okay, just look at me when you're doing the video, and just tell us a little bit about the show, and it just has to be 30 seconds to a minute. And I was like, oh. Only 30 seconds to a minute? This might be a problem. I'm like, hold on then, because that's a whole different other way of thinking. That means you have to do a short sound bite for a television interview or something. I was like, okay, hold on. And he was like, oh no, I normally just say that because some people get nervous to talk for a long time.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, no. You're going to have to tell me to stop talking. I'm used to doing a video podcast with Frank Murphy. And he goes, I know Frank Murphy. We're good friends. So Saul says hi.
Saul Young?
Yes.
I love Saul Young. Saul Young is the best.
Yeah.
He took a picture of me one year on New Year's Eve when I'm hosting the ball drop, but labeled it in such a fashion that it was Frank Murphy of the EW Scripps Company, which owned the station at the time, and mentioned that in there. And Saul used to work for EW Scripps when they owned the newspaper, so it was in that. And then a few months later, when EW Scripps decides they're going to sell the radio station, they pull out this file photo of me. And so every time for the next 8 months, they mentioned the sale of the radio stations, and there were 4 or 5 articles. They ran the same picture of Frank Murphy. I'm sure my coworkers might have gotten a little irked by it, but people are sending it to me. How come you're in the paper all the time?
That's funny. Well, he's good friends with Brandon Gibson too, and Brandon said the same thing. Oh, I have a great photo that Saul took of me.
Oh, he's Saul's
amazing.
And I recommend following him on social media because he's hilarious. He has think of him as Uncle Saul.
Okay.
Because he has some nieces, I think mostly nieces who maybe live in Ohio, and when they come to visit, he takes them to all the cheesy tourist attractions like we would.
Right.
But he makes this sour face like he's unhappy in all the pictures, and it's
hilarious.
I mean, it's because if you know Saul, he's one of the most joyful people.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious of him, he's standing there wearing a Dollywood T-shirt, and the girls are all excited and having fun.
Well, actually, I have a question for you now that we're talking about uncles. Yeah. How do you pronounce the word for your mother's sister?
Aunt? No,
Aunt?
I say aunt.
You say aunt?
Aunt Grace, yeah.
Aunt. Yeah. So
hello, Frankie. It's Aunt Grace calling. Yeah. Oh, call you Aunt Johanna.
We were trying to decide whether it was aunt or aunt the other day in rehearsal, and I decided that it's aunt if it's your mom's sister, but if it's your mom's aunt, it's your great aunt.
Oh. Yeah, see, I think an aunt sounds to me more Southern.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas aunt to me sounds more Northern. You know, oh, your great aunt Margaret is it aunt? It's always aunt.
Aunt.
Yeah, that's
I say aunt.
That's why I think of it.
Aunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of me, just talking too much to everybody. You mentioned with Saul that you just trying to talk.
Yeah.
And it went well. How long did he interview you?
I talked for quite a while, so he has some editing to do. Sorry.
What is that?
Okay. Stop talking, Kathryn.
Please stop. Please stop. That's why I got to put the mic on a tripod, Kathryn, because my arm would get too tired trying to. I can't record anymore.
Oh my goodness.
But I was guested on another podcast called Quitters Never Give Up, which is a funny misspeak that came from the old Kevin and Bean show on KROQ. And now that show is dissolved, a lot of the people who are involved with it, like my friend Bean, has a podcast with another former member of the show named Allie. Kevin had a podcast called Great News with one of the guys.
Nice.
And now he's on the radio on another station, KLOS in Los Angeles. There's other people who they call it the Kevin and Bean Creative Universe.
Oh, fun.
Like Marvel Creative Universe.
Yeah, that's great.
So these fans, these listeners, all met in the Facebook group. And there's, as I recall, there were 4 of them. There was Jennifer and Lindsay and Edwin and Christopher. Ooh, good pull there. I should have.
Nice, yeah.
And they created their own podcast about the Kevin and Bean Creative Universe.
Oh, fun.
So they listen back to old episodes of the radio show and then listen to the new episodes of these podcasts. And it's like talk soup. They comment about what did you think of the latest
episode,
Allie and Bean show, or the latest Kevin and Sluggo show, or the latest this, that, and the other thing.
Nice.
So they contacted Bean over in England, and he said, well, try, you might want to have Frank on. So I did it on Saturday. They said, we'll record on Saturdays. With the time difference, it was 2 p.m. for me, 11 a.m. for them. And I figured it'd be half an hour, right?
Yeah,
I mean, how long is a podcast?
Right.
Some of theirs, and I listened to some of their episodes, they were roughly half an hour-ish.
Okay, yeah.
With the Kevin interview, they broke it up into 2 parts. So next thing you know, I'm talking, and they're like, it's been really great, but we also have a regular episode we're going to do where we just talk about the shows. Do you want to stick around for that? And I realized that I'd been talking with them for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Wow.
Which is way more than I expected. And
So
I said,
how
no.
many episodes is that for?
Possibly, yeah. So you guys go ahead and do your own show. I'll bail out here. I've interrupted, your flow enough. But I was giving them everything. I was giving them all of the old stories about Rick Dees and about what's called the Bleeda and Reseda, all these other crazy stunts that we did. My life, my story. I mentioned you in this podcast, of course. We got to talking about all sorts of number of things. So I know my voice I'm losing my voice just thinking about it.
Because you talked for so long, you don't have a voice left.
But I think they contacted me afterward and said they liked it.
Good.
So that's a compliment.
Good.
Right?
That is a compliment.
So
do you
I'll
think
post
they'll
the
start
link.
Commenting on our podcast as part of their thing?
Well, I think one of the 4 of them did subscribe. So
That's good.
I think Jennifer, Jen, said that she had subscribed and had listened to she said, yeah, who was the dark-haired lady? And you were talking about this, and this. And I said, oh, well, let me tell you. That's Kathryn Frady. And she was very specific about the most recent episode.
Oh, good.
That she had watched. And that was nice.
Yeah, that is
So
nice.
if we can get the
Thanks,
other 3 of
Jennifer.
you, Christopher and Edwin and Lindsay to all subscribe, we'll be up a few more on the ticker. But that's good.
It is good. Well, that sounds like a good time.
Yeah, so that's a lot. We should probably pause, speaking of going for too long, on podcasts.
Otherwise, we could sit here and talk for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll remind you that Dr. Bill Bass will be at the Rose Glen Literary Festival on February 19th at 10 o'clock in the morning. Also that weekend, the Akima Cabaret, Friday night the 18th, which is when my wife and I are going, or you can catch just the show, the matinee, on Saturday the 19th, I think at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So theoretically, you could do both. You could go see Dr. Bass at 10 and then go straight to the Akima Cabaret.
That'd be a good day.
Yeah. And if you love listening to podcasts like Quitters Never Give Up, or more specifically the Frank and Friends show, have we got a deal for you.
Yeah, check out audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow.
You can listen to all sorts of audio entertainment, including things that are custom made just for Audible subscribers. So some exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else. And you say to us, well, if it's exclusive, how do I know if I'm going to like it? The free trial.
The free trial. And you can download one item, any item, and keep it.
Yeah, during that 30 days.
Yeah.
Each 30 days you get credits for being an Audible member, and you use those credits to permanently download things, as opposed to like streaming a podcast. You wouldn't burn a credit for that. So check out audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow and see if you don't love Audible, and try some of these custom things you can't get anywhere else. That might be just enough to get you hooked and keep you on as a subscriber. And when you do use our URL, the one on the screen, that also is supporting the Frank and Friends Show. We do appreciate that very much. And I love the fact that you can continue listening wherever you are. It remembers across your devices.
Yes, that is great.
Where you've left off in the audiobook.
Yeah.
So you just pick right up where you left off.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
All right. Well, Freddie, good job today.
You too.
Thanks for the Uncle Frank business. I didn't realize that's what your family calls me. So, hi, everybody. Uncle Frank says hi.
You're welcome. Uncle Frank says hi. Yeah, so I'll tell them next week.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you next time about why I had to trim the beard down to nothing. I'm going to try to start to grow it back out a little bit.
I do want to hear about that.
For next show.
Yeah, and I have to tell you about a dog rescue, so.
Oh.
We have things to talk about.
All right, well, sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing.
And smashing that button.
You get your notifications, absolutely. And do keep an eye out at Marble City for their big world premiere on February 24th of I Can't Breathe. The Matt Hinkin tribute that same night. I mean, this really...
So much to do.
We will keep you busy. You can be as busy as we are. You just got to put in the effort.
We promise you.
This is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Kathryn Frady.
And we'll talk to you next time.